Okay, so here we go. So who's got some questions? I'm sure a few people have got questions. Maybe I'll start with the questions. Okay, wait, we have one with Katie's behind you, there she goes. Hi, so yeah, if you just want to, so what we do is we all stand up and then we say, hi everybody, my name is X, and then everyone says, hi X. So we'll start with you.
Hi everyone, my name is Zara.
Oh, Katie didn't turn off mute, yeah?
Hi.
Okay.
That still gets me.
Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Zara.
Hi Zara.
So thanks to everyone for speaking. So I'm going to ask a cheeky question to each of you. What are you still afraid of?
Oh, I can pass on this, right? I'm not one of the speakers.
Ayahuasca. So hallucinogenics. The most terrifying experience I've ever had is complete mental collapse of none of reality feeling real and going into my own inner darkness and spending months and years in there already. So having to go back to that and go through it again. But the interesting thing is, I think once you've gone through a scary experience, it's never the same twice. It's like watching a really good movie, like Avengers Endgame, it's not as good the second time. So until I go through it a second time, then I'll know. But I think it's that. So personality meltdown.
I'd say, as I said to the gentleman earlier on, is showing more affection to my father, because in my culture, affection is not showed your conventional way, and whenever me and my partner go visit my parents, when we leave, she forces me to kind of give a hug to my father. And the hug I give is, one of those side hugs, where you just give a little pat on the back. So, just to show more affection, maybe have a beer with him and have a bit more of a connection.
I think most of the things that I did in my failure challenge I'm still actually afraid of, but I think as Marcus said, maybe it just changes slightly. So when I do my second, if I do my second stand-up comedy gig, I'm still being too scared to sign up for the second one so far, and I will be scared when I do it next. And I still face the fear of rejection every day, every time I have to do sales. It's still an issue for me. I don't think it's like you just do a challenge or you face it once and it's never an issue again. You just have to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Yeah, so me as well, I'll put mine in that as well, so it's everyone else having to go. So mine's relationships, relationships with women, and how I sort of stay aside and sort of stay by myself a lot. And also for another one is just the deeper, authentic relationship with my family, because I do push myself to have deeper conversations with them, and I'm met with a lot of resistance. But I believe that's very important. The more I can work on that relationship, the more I notice my relationships with everyone else. So, funny enough, with the talk of tonight, I think they're talking about social challenges as scarier than maybe jumping out of a plane, going over and speaking to someone. So I think relationships is the biggest fear, for me personally. So yeah, any other questions? We have this lady here.
I'm just curious. It's a spooky thing.
So if you want to stand up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you say, hi everyone, my name is?
Hi everyone, my name's Colette.
Hi Colette.
I'm just curious, when you did your challenges, did you always have someone photographing you or videoing you, or did you actually go into the park by yourself and say, what are you longing for? Or did you have someone, for example, or did you have someone always with you witnessing it? And I just was curious.
Yeah, so Marcus, I think I know the answer to your one, but there you go.
I just meant that. Sorry. You can answer, but I thought it was only Andy that did the challenge. The 50 challenge.
All of us have done challenges in public, I think.
Oh, okay, sorry, yes, you have.
They're not
I
the
was
same
talking
one.
about the 50 challenges, I suppose, yeah. You
So
can answer it too, just.
I filmed a few of them, so I filmed the stand-up, I filmed lying down in public, but quite a few of them I didn't film, so like asking strangers in the pub what they long for. I think maybe I tried to get some audio for that, but I didn't film it, but I made a video afterwards and put it on Facebook where I told people what I'd done and what I'd learned from it.
I just wonder, because that's an extra fear, that's an extra courage to do it with nobody there. Because if you've got video, you're like, oh yeah, there's a part or something. But if you're just by yourself, it's kind of, that's tricky. Yeah. So I was just curious. Sorry about that, but you can, yeah, I've got done challenges too.
Personally, I think the video depends on the person. Some might be motivated to produce video and kind of capture themselves in their best moment or worst moment and laugh back at it. So I think being comfortable in being able to do it without the camera and with the camera is important.
Yeah, just have to agree with what these guys said. Ultimately, it's about your relationship with yourself. So, yeah, for me, I found doing it on my own harder, but having a camera crew there added pressure as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I found the video actually adds more pressure, especially depending on the person. Like for me, maybe validation, something that I want to put out on YouTube. But ultimately, once I got past that, and just you want to integrate it into life rather than always waiting for someone to come around and have the camera. So then question: why is it that you need the video and you need to prove to people? Ultimately, it's about proving it to yourself. So that's a good sort of thing that I follow. Okay, is that good? Yeah, you got your answer from Andy, so that's good. Okay. Yeah, Ayush has got a question.
Hello, I'm Ayush.
Hi, Ayush.
I'd like to know that how can we stop the habit of thoughts recurring? Because so many times fearful thoughts come too often and they are repeated almost every moment.
Yeah.
And you're really afraid that you will do the action immediately.
Yeah, great question. Marcus?
So the voice in the head, like the thoughts, there's many different ways, many different paths to that, but one thing I try is when the voice appears, see if you can get the voice just to say, I love you. And the voice might come and go, yeah, but that's rubbish, I love you. And then you go, yeah, but when this is a stupid exercise, I love you. And just keep saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. So every time the voice comes up, even if it's like, oh, that person looks awesome, I love you. Or, oh, I'm feeling tired, I love you. Just talk over the voice with, I love you. See what happens. That'd be my suggestion.
So, when I start thinking, because I'm quite introverted naturally, the thoughts, they compound and it becomes a down spiral. And it becomes to such an extent where analysis causes paralysis and you don't take action. So what I try to do is prevent thinking in the first place and just do it, because that's the best action. Right now, when you feel like doing something, that's your pure inside feeling of wanting to do something. But the longer it takes for you, the bigger the time gap of where you can think and convince yourself out of it. So yeah, I try to prevent it and just take action as soon as possible, wherever that may be.
As someone who teaches and practices mindfulness meditation, I would say that's one of the best ways. I agree, there's lots of different ways of doing it, but just being able to be the observer that can see, that can watch the thoughts, that can take a step back and have the awareness, I am having negative thoughts right now. I'm experiencing fear right now. Noticing what's going on in your body can be very, very powerful when you're experiencing anxiety. Rather than being stuck in, what am I thinking about? Bring your awareness down into what's happening for me physically. Is my breath changing? Is my heart rate changing? Is my stomach tightening? And when you do that, something very magical often happens, that it starts to dissipate. You take the fuel away from the thoughts because you're not concentrating on the thoughts, and your body starts to relax when you start paying attention to it. So that would be my advice, is to practice meditation, and in the moment when you're having anxious thoughts, instead of focusing on thinking, focus on what am I feeling and can I be okay with how I'm feeling physically.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ayush. Another question. Yeah, there's a lady behind the pillar, Katie.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
I just want to know if you have any advice on if you have repeated rejection, like putting those challenges to yourself. And you're getting all those responses that you said at the end and discussed, and that's a typical shock, like you're building up the courage to go out and make those challenges and go forward, and actually that's knocking your confidence back, if you have any advice.
Thank you, that's a great question, and something I didn't really get into enough detail in my talk. So, in life, there's two things that can pat your back for you: the world around you or yourself. So the real mastery is patting your own back. And sometimes it's hard for us to pat our own back, especially if we've grown up and we're used to, no, I'm not good enough, or no, I should be something I'm not, or quite often our thoughts are what we use to almost berate ourselves. So what's important is to get your mind in the right place. Now, for me, I did actually just pat my back. I'd be like, well done me. And it's easy to say that, but if you've got that screwed up face of disgust, like it's seductive, it's like, we want to pick it up and go, that's my story, I'm going to make that part of me. And that's the moment you've got to catch. Now, if you can catch that moment, so that's the first thing, catch the moment. The second part is, actually, well done me. May want to, yeah, that's it. You may want to add in another statement about yourself, like something that you want or you believe is true about you. Like, well done me, I'm a good person. Or well done me, I took action today. Or well done me, I took a risk and it was sexy. Okay? And pat it back again. And that will start getting your mind rewired, so you're seeking validation from yourself, the relationship you have with yourself, rather than the outside world. That's the tip I would give you.
Yeah, just to echo on Marcus's point, I think taking action initially, that's the most important thing, that's the first step, because if you're not taking action, you're not gaining anything at all. And secondly, I think we generally are our worst critics. The actions we take, if we make mistakes, if we don't get the perfect outcome that we wanted, it's not that bad at the end of the day. It really isn't that bad, and you've probably done more than anyone else would have done by taking that action. So I think more self-gratitude, realizing what you've just done, realizing you've taken action, and realize that every time you get rejected, that's a feedback. That's not, a rejection shouldn't be thought as a rejection should be thought as, oh, that's not right for me, this interview's not right for me, this girl's not right for me. It's not a rejection, it's just non-compliance, it's not compatible. So it's just, it's in a positive way, and also being less critical on yourself.
I think if you're hurting from being rejected, it's not, as you said, we're our own worst critic. It's not actually what they've said that's hurting us. It's what we're saying to ourselves in our mind in response to what they've said. We're saying, well, because they rejected me, I'm not good enough, I'm an idiot, I'm useless, I'm worthless, whatever it might be. So again, just noticing your internal dialogue, noticing your body is very powerful. And another thing that I find very powerful is just to question your thoughts and ask yourself, is that true? So for example, I once missed week 3 of a mindfulness course in a school. And I've got this insecurity about how I'm very disorganized and I'm forgetful. And I went into this place of shame, like I'm such an idiot for forgetting to go, they're going to think I'm useless, they're never going to invite me back to the school, I've ruined my reputation with the teachers, I've ruined my reputation with the students. And I was able to notice that was going on, notice the thoughts, notice the feelings, and question, well, is that really true? Are they definitely going to never want to speak to me again? Am I the only person who's ever forgotten to go to something that they were meant to go to? No. And I started to go to get some distance between what I was experiencing and reality. And then telling somebody about it. I luckily had a coaching session just after. Sharing that with somebody really helped. Because often somebody else can see what's going on for you with more of a sense of what's true than you can, because you're making up all these lies in your head. So to have someone else to help to reassure you that it's no big deal, this happens to lots of people, that really helps as well.
Okay, great question. That's the really deep answer as well. We've got time for just one more quick question. Yes, Alexandra.
I'm Alejandra.
Hi.
I'm wondering if, and I hope so, but I didn't mean to say that, sorry. The fact how relevant has been having fun in doing your challenges and in this journey? If it has been relevant. I don't know, maybe it wasn't, but yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, we can start now.
For me, I guess it wasn't the main intention that I had to have more fun, but it was a fantastic byproduct. I realised that by not facing my fears, my life had become very predictable, and I was feeling quite small, and and when I took risks, everything became more exciting. I felt more alive. Life felt like more of an adventure when I was facing my fears, and when I wasn't, it was boring. So I did have a lot of fun doing the challenge than I had probably ever done in my life, doing something that scared me every single day.
I've got this scene of a vet, and it's like, how's my cat? It's like, okay. It's like, no, I had to put it down. And it's just, ugh. So there's definitely, I reckon, a time to have fun, and sometimes pushing your comfort isn't into a fun area. But I think for our spirit, the more things that we find that are fun, that's the quickest way to grow. Any time you're learning a new skill and it's fun, it's because you're doing stuff you've never done before. And then when you get bored of it, it's because you're like, yeah, I've done this now. Anytime you reach a flow state where you're really enjoying the task, even though you're really good at it, it's because still you're in that sweet spot between could screw it up, could be okay. And there's this balance that gets achieved, and that's called fun, right? So, yeah, I think if you're gonna go on a journey to improve an area of your life, you can make it fun. Yeah, that's much better than the really painful way. Definitely.
Just an afterthought. So when you're doing something and you're having fun, you're putting yourself in the moment rather than having a kind of mission or objective. You're doing it for the sake of doing it, and you're having fun in doing it. If you're very result dependent and you're constantly seeking for this certain, goal or this certain reach, then if you're not enjoying yourself, you're not enjoying the process. You should enjoy the process, even if it's a painful one. You take the best out of it and you have fun in doing it, and it's meant to be a fun journey. It's like a roller coaster. It's gonna go have dips and ups and dips, but you need to enjoy the journey in order for it to be meaningful for you. Otherwise, it's not the right journey. But as mentioned, it depends on what challenge you're doing and how far you put yourself outside the comfort zone.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so I'm sure that was a great answer to your question. And just to my final recap on that is, this journey is all about having fun. The reason I invited these speakers was because they all have that fun element in them. And, it's why me and Marcus have been friends all this time, because it's cheap. What's that? Cheap. You were cheap, yeah. They were cheap, yeah, no money, that's fine. So the main thing is, it's having fun. And that's what I want to invite you guys to do as well. What we're going to do right at the end, literally going to be a couple more minutes. I'm just going to hand some feedback forms out, and because I really want to make this event as fun and just in your what you most want out of the event, what would keep you coming back. Because I want this to be I have the vision in my head, and at times I'm like, oh, is it as fun as I'm making it? And then just taking on feedback over and over again. The reason I've done because I've done workshops and I've done so many things, then. Just found a lot of the things I've been doing just boring, and that's why I did the trip away. That's why we run fun events, and the more I started having fun, the more people are attracted to me, like magnet, because people want to have fun. I was like, who would want to come to Budapest for a few days and do fun things? Surely they just want to be in a seminar, learn about how to get out of the comfort zone. But this was 10 times the amount, and so fun is definitely the way. So just to recap with everybody as well, obviously we're running low on time, so I'll send everyone an email. I've got everyone's email from Eventbrite, and I'll just give you information on all these guys, like where to find more of them, their websites, if you've updated your websites recently, YouTube channels, things like that. So, yeah, another round of applause for speakers. And also, a special round of applause to the amazing Holly's over here. And Holly's the person who's made this event. She works here, and she's made this possible. So, amazing round of applause for Holly. And also, you can give yourselves a round of applause as well.